Hey, everybody. I can't even do it. I was trying to do a Lego impression, but I can't. I can't be Lego. But, hello, everyone. Welcome to RezoCast episode 122. It's Valentine's Day. Are we doing a Valentine's Day episode? No, not really. But, as you can see, if you're watching live, right now it is just myself, Hove, and Triton. Mana and Wilson are both doing, Valentine's things. And Lego's going to be a little late. He is busy finishing his serenade that he's going to sing to me when he gets here, live for all of you, to win me over. So
stay tuned for that, for sure.
Stay tuned for that, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But the show must go on. We're gonna talk a little gaming. This is now, Lego doesn't know this, but we're making this episode the Eaton Park episode. We're gonna call it Park and Cast.
Yes.
It's all
Parking
things.
Cast.
Yeah, all things Eaton Park.
As
food.
another plea to get them to sponsor us. Really only helps Hove and I, but and I guess Mana a little bit, but yes, a sponsorship would be lovely.
I would take it.
I would take it.
You can't tell by my physique, but I fucking love their salad bar. And their French fries, which is probably more
At certain locations.
Yeah, which is probably more what you would expect. But anyway, yeah, we are here. We're at episode 122, which is a lot of episodes. The week for me has been a little interesting. It's been a lot of Apex Legends. To be honest, only game I've played since last week. Even God of War that I was doing a run through of, I haven't touched. I love that game, but Apex Legends has just been really addicting. And I know this is a Destiny podcast. I'm sorry, Lego, but I haven't touched Destiny either, man. Apex Legends has got its hooks in me. What about you, Trent? What have you been doing this week? Anything exciting, new, fun?
Well, I gaming-wise, haven't gotten back into Destiny. The most I've done is that I actually I had to move the Destiny 2 box to get to the Assassin's Creed Odyssey box again, because I've been playing that nonstop pretty much. Finally got the platinum yesterday. Really enjoyed it. As you know, as a trophy hunter, there was a ton of stuff that you had to do. It took me about 125 hours to do everything, so I kind of started giving that a run in late January. So
I thought you were going to say you did that all last week.
No. I mean, I've been making some progress. I was probably putting in X amount of hours a game if I'm if I'm running some kind of code for my job or something like that. It's a good time to get on there for maybe a couple hour stretches. So it's been pretty good. Work-wise has been, extremely busy, as you know. Not that the local team, at least one local team's doing all that great, but with Pitt, although expected, I think. Yeah, we think have a pretty good, realistic perspective on that, unlike some people. If you follow Pittsburgh Panthers Twitter,
I think the week though is going to be a good week for the future. Started out.
This could be another good weekend.
Yeah,
could be another good weekend with who they're hosting. So a lot of stuff going on there. Put a down payment on a house. So after the wife and I built our house, I never thought that I would be moving again, especially with 4 kids. So now we are once again be moving again in the summer.
Well, that's because you needed the extra bedroom for me.
Well, I mean, yeah, and the added space. I mean, to have that kind of Hove lounge there in the basement was essential. So to move into another space. So lots of stuff going on. Pretty busy. Haven't been able to get down to Destiny. Really haven't been actually that active even on Twitter in the last couple weeks because of all the things going on. But I'm always excited to be on and chat with just you, Hove. Have that quality time.
This is so unnecessary. Out of the 5 people officially on this podcast, you and I are the only 2 who could theoretically meet in person on a regular basis, and we're the only 2 here broadcasting it live. What? So you weren't here last week, right? Was that last week?
No, last week was last week.
I think I already know the answer to this, but have you downloaded or are you interested in Apex Legends at all?
Oh yeah, that was the other thing I mentioned. I meant to mention. So that happened when I was not gaming much at all and only get the Assassin's Creed in. So no, I haven't downloaded it all. I probably should do that. Seems like a ton of people that I know are having a ton of fun with it, you included. So
I mean, it's free. Give it a shot.
Yeah, I should definitely take advantage while it's free.
Even if you're not, we went in depth last week. Not going to talk too much about it, I don't think. Maybe once Lego gets on, we'll just talk a little bit about how our games went and everything. But it's very, very accessible as far as a battle royale goes, because a lot of them are very, the looting system and getting your guns ready is kind of convoluted, especially with the controller. That's one thing Respawn did, was they absolutely nailed the simplicity of like making a loadout. I mean, everything from like the attachments, there's no like, do you like this one or this one? It's just there's a stock and there's levels. Yeah. So if you pick up a better one, it just puts it on your gun and drops your old one. Even if you drop one gun and pick up another, if there's any attachments on your first gun that fit on the second one, it puts them right on there and drops the rest of them. So, I mean, it's this very simple, do I want that gun? Yes. And it'll put everything you have on. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no...
Yeah, inventory management, because
that
is rough.
I mean, there's a little bit. If you have to get a backpack, and there's only so many spots, but it's as easy as options button, it shows you what you have, and if you don't want it, you just hit square on it and just drop it. As far as
first person, right? Which is literally, I think, playing, obviously Destiny and other FPSs is probably an easier transition for some people. Probably, like, for myself, I would feel that way. I would feel more comfortable Battle Royale FPS than third person.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think it's something, I know you got a lot going on and everything, but if you get the time, throw it on there. I mean, jump in for a couple games. It does play a little bit like Destiny. I mean, it's the closest BR I've played to Destiny, and I'm not comparing them by any means, but just kind of the, like, they have there's a gun called the Wingman, which is, most games, not all, but a lot of games before, at least I got into Destiny, if you picked up a handgun, it was like a sidearm pistol. You didn't really want it.
Yeah.
This Wingman specifically is more like, it feels like a hand cannon. Like, it feels like in Destiny, so there's a lot of similarities there. 3-man games kind of makes you feel a little bit like Trials almost. Like, it's you versus some other ones in elimination. Yeah. So it's definitely worth a shot. I mean, what's the worst that happens? You took up a little space on your hard drive and you have to delete it if you don't like it.
Yeah, I definitely think I'll try to give it a try there. I missed the Vision beta. Actually, I went out and even put like $5 down last week when I was around. I'm like, I'll just get the beta code. So I put $5 down. Didn't even get to play it. So
yeah, Country was super awesome and got me a code for it, and I downloaded it. I was so excited. I had it downloaded first, and then like the night before, I think. It was like the second day Apex Legends was out, and Dewey was like, "Hey, we're gonna go play Apex Legends. You should download it." And I was like, "All right." And that's all I've played since. Like, that first night I played till like 2 a.m. and they were like, "So what do you think?" And I was like, I said this on the podcast too. I was like, "I fucking hate this game. It's stupid. I did not just play it for 6 hours straight." But it's a lot of fun. As far as Destiny, there is some stuff in the TWAB, but Lego is gonna be he's gonna have a big opinion on this one, so I'm gonna wait for him.
That's cool.
Other than that,
as some of you guys know, I'm trying to with all the things that's going on in my life, I didn't think we'd do anything for Valentine's Day. I thought, like, for my wife, I was like, oh well, like, we're getting a house, so but she did surprise me with wanting to watch a movie, a late dinner, and a bottle of wine. So
what movie and what kind of wine?
Well, I think it's going to be so we haven't seen
you're doing this later.
Mission Impossible Fallout. Yeah, like the one that was just in theater. So that's in Redbox, and so I heard it was actually pretty good.
It's supposed to be really good.
Like Rogue Nation, and if Rogue Nation was the one right before this,
Ghost
really
Protocol and Rogue Nation were the last two.
Okay, so both of those we liked. So I think that's what we're gonna end up doing. But yeah, not having to go in the office, and then she's stay-at-home mom, so we can definitely swing a little later Thursday night. So yeah, you could definitely.
So how is it you can swing a later night with wine and a movie, but normally it's too late to just get a super burger with me?
Okay, there's like late levels, as in like if I start at like 10:30 in my house is different than 1:30 driving somewhere to go to Super Burger or get a Super Burger and potentially interrupt a cult meeting. There's like differences there.
I don't see the difference, but
we haven't done that in a long time though. Actually,
yeah,
we really
I know.
Grab the late night.
And actually, I'm pretty much free during my workday to just drive around as I please. I could even meet you for lunch sometime, but you never call. You don't write.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to get this room in the basement of my house. I mean, I don't
it's
know
in the basement.
Want me to say?
Am I like the people under the stairs?
But no, I think for the TWAB, I think Lego would be super excited to be a part of that. Honestly,
I don't know if excited is the word.
Okay, well I'll have to then. It's going to be intriguing because I'll have to listen. Usually, I honestly I'll admit that I don't listen to a ton of our episodes, if any, because I'm on them, so I don't tend to like listen to them. But without, if I miss them or since I'm leaving soon, I'll listen.
So
I'll be curious.
I used to listen to every episode, whether like during the week, whether I was on it or not. 2 reasons I don't anymore. One, I used to have a commute to work, and I would plug my phone in, and listen to podcasts to and from. Well, now I drive. I don't have my car. I have a shitty Dodge Caravan that's like the state-owned vehicle that I drive for work. So I don't have like Android Auto anymore. And also, the big reason I used to listen to it, it wasn't because I was like, man, this is a great show, we should listen to it again. It was more like I don't know what to do on a podcast. Why am I the host of a podcast? Let me see how bad I sound and fix it. And now I just don't think that I care. Like, not like not like I don't care if we're shitty. It's just like, I'm me. Like, I'm gonna talk like I talk, and I'm gonna be a pain in the ass. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you can go fuck yourself in the nicest way possible. Happy Valentine's Day. Gorniak in chat wants to know if you even wished me a happy Valentine's Day.
Did I wish you? No, I did not. I don't think any of us in chat wished each other a happy Valentine's Day.
I sent you a card.
Honest. Did we?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you did, Hove.
Your wife took it. She said, "Who's this person sending you Valentine's Day cards?"
Oh man, funny story with that real quick. In terms of, so the other day, my wife finds a pair of earrings in our dryer, right? So I mean, she immediately starts asking me like where they possibly could be. So I was like, I have no idea. Turns out, anyways, I think like through talking to my sister-in-law, they were like from her wedding like 2 years ago. That somehow got like stuck in our dryer and finally just resurfaced randomly. So she's been wearing around the house now the last couple days. But yeah, speaking of like seeing something random come through, me like, where did this come from? Yeah, that actually just did happen.
That reminds me, did you see it was a few weeks ago now, but I've seen it popping up on different articles. You know, some of those websites that just list stupid shit on the internet that happened. Did you see the thing where that guy was live tweeting his son trying to sneak a girl out of the house the next morning when his mom was awake?
Yeah, I did see a chain where he was awake that morning.
It was fucking fantastic. Dude, that
was great.
It was
I didn't know there was more to that.
It's really, well, I mean, they just posted like that conversation. I just happened to see it. It made me think of it. It was fairly anticlimactic, and he even said like after all this, he'll probably get her out just fine. But it was really funny, like reading all the things he was saying. And then, like he said, like he walked by and looked him right in the eyes, like as he was walking out with this girl, like sneaking out past the mom. It was really funny. If you get a chance, I wouldn't know what to look up, but
yeah, I don't remember the guy's handle or anything. I just remember seeing that very initial one, like up in the morning, son had a girl over for bed, we're eating breakfast, trying to get out past the mom. We'll see how this goes. Type of tweet. I saw that initial one at least.
It was a good like 15 or 20 tweets. It was pretty entertaining. But yeah. I don't know. This is something else that I read online that nobody's gonna care about, but it was an interesting article. I think it was Business Insider did an article where they went to a Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
And it was like the basis of it, like I don't remember what the headline was, but it was basically like how the magic happens making a Chick-fil-A sandwich. And it was them walking through from like taking the raw chicken to coating it to breading it to frying it, and how absolutely ridiculously regimented and strict of a system they have. And that's why like all their sandwiches are the same.
Yeah.
They have a roller, like you get one swipe on this roller to get the butter on the bread. You get like, if the chicken is shaped wrong, they throw it away and they use it in their soup. There's a specific way the pickles have to go on the sandwich. There's a specific way the chicken has to go in the fryer. There's an algorithm to how many sandwiches they're making, because they also have a thing that once the chicken sandwich is made, it's only like 7 minutes or something, and then they have to get rid of it if it hasn't sold.
Oh, wow.
So they have to like be... I know nobody gives a shit about this, but this article was super interesting to me.
Actually, no, I find those things fascinating.
And then they showed pictures, a really long, in-depth article, because the system they have is crazy. I liked it. I'm also, just in case anyone's wondering, I'm currently texting Lego, telling him, Lego, finish writing your song. We need you. I'm currently explaining how to make a Chick-fil-A sandwich on our.
Hey, that's not bad. I mean, like those things. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm not going to presume that no one else on the show would actually like listen and follow up on that and be interested. But not that long ago, I think I was telling my kids about like how like Toyota's like S line formation in their factories that allowed things to be moved out faster was like one of their like revolutionary technologies that the Japanese introduced like early on in Toyota. And I just remember my oldest son being like, Dad, that is literally the last thing I want to talk about. Like 2 minutes into the conversation, like, don't you think it's awesome that somebody just sat down and looked at the factory floor and been like, you know what, if we kind of just shape some of the assembly parts in like this S formation so somebody can like just hand it right over, that they'd get stuff done faster. He's like, and of course it's like, well, didn't they just have like an iPad, or, something like that? And you're like, no, they didn't have like iPads. Like, come on. So
also, for anyone who might care, I'll try to get Lego to put the link in the description if you're on YouTube. But if you're here live, I just put the link in chat if you want to learn how to make a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Not like the recipe. You would actually need to be in a Chick-fil-A. But other than that, so
did Lego throw up like an ETA on the song at all, or is he just like in the wind here?
I don't know. He said something about there were tears involved.
And, wow.
Yeah, it was very heartfelt. I'm not really sure. One thing Botbuster put in chat, I am planning to change topics here. I was ready to, but he said, Chick-fil-A is always so busy I never go, even though I really want to go. But I will tell you, I have never been to any sort of restaurant that may look that damn busy, but especially the drive-thru. It's almost like you don't stop. Like, they're so good at doing that. It's amazing.
Have you been to the new one in Robinson though? That we used
No, I heard that one. I heard that one's ridiculous though.
Okay, because that one can like wrap around the building. It's like a two-laner to one-laner.
Do they have the people out with the iPads?
They have both the people in the iPads, and they also do have like the actual speakers, because I think they almost do like an every other just to try to keep it moving. It is pretty thorough and pretty quick. But
and it's because that algorithm. They always have sandwiches ready because they know how many people are coming. It's insane. So yeah, but I would say, give it a shot. It may be super, super busy, but it's pretty quick. It's faster than going to most McDonald's when they're not busy.
Yeah, McDonald's when it's not busy is terrible. You might as well like teach yourself how to make the food and go back there.
I actually the other night I played Apex Legends all day and I realized I was hungry, so I did Uber Eats, and got McDonald's just because it's close and it was easy.
Yeah.
Uber Eats now does a thing with, it's almost like ride sharing. So okay. I got to pick, they listed 3 places at the waterfront that because somebody else was ordering from there, I had 5 minutes to order from one of those 3 places, and I didn't pay a delivery fee because I like piggybacked on their driver.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That's pretty sweet.
The other thing, my driver got here, apologized for how long it took, and then asked if I could please never order from that McDonald's again. He said, could you like order from Chick-fil-A or something? He was like, that place is the fucking worst. He was like, I've never seen such bad service in my life. So anyway, back to gaming. Anthem comes out. There's a lot of questions about when it actually goes live. I heard the PC servers are live already. Are you getting Anthem, have Anthem, plan on playing Anthem? We didn't really talk about that either with you because you weren't here last week.
Well, I think I was here for the VIP demo. So the first demo that came out that was like bugged to shit. Like I was here for that. And expectedly bugged. I think I said that at the time, so I'm not slamming the fact that the demo didn't run 100%. Not one of those people, but it didn't grab me, and I had concerns about like the fact that I played the one Stronghold probably underleveled with almost no game experience, with people constantly dropping in and out of this thing. So that probably is a big factor. But I didn't feel like you could reliably do a lot by yourself. So it's like if I don't have 3 other people playing with me at these coordinated times, doing these at like the same progression for story, right? Because initially everyone's going to be trying to level, so you have to play X and Y story mission. I think they did explain in one of their kind of Anthem demos with the devs or whatever about how enemies would scale if the person's higher. So it's like there's an incentive to help lower people, or it's not like as penalizing. Like the Division obviously got that wrong, I think, in Division 1 early.
If you were like an hour ahead of someone,
yeah, you couldn't play with them.
Yeah.
So I think they were pretty proactive in making sure that wasn't the case. But I remember like trying to take down these enemies' shields in the Stronghold and like not able to take down their shields, reload, and then do damage to their armor, while like this guy's doing something else, this guy's doing something else. So I have concerns about like solo play, because I'm also someone whose primary game time right now is like during the day. Like I said, if I'm like running a bunch of like SAS code or something through like any of my programs that I'm running, I usually can buy like an hour or 2. So I actually canceled my pre-order. I was.
Oh, really?
I did, and I pre-ordered the Legion of Dawn edition. I'm like, I don't know, like $85 for this. But my older son really wanted the game still, so he still has his regular game on. So I don't know if we won't be able to play together, but I'll probably watch what he's doing, maybe play a little bit. Maybe he'll let me play on his account a little bit, and then make a decision later. But it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but PvE only. I've not really done too many things. It's not like a dedicated single player thing. It's PvE only, I guess. And I don't know, a little bit concerned that teamwork is paramount, which is great. But that doesn't always bode well if you have to play solo a lot. So as we know from Destiny and 50 other things.
Yeah, I I think Anthem kind of made me realize a swing in my kind of gaming nature stance. I don't know how you want to put it. But like, it looks really cool. I think the idea is cool. I think the gameplay probably is going to be really fun as just a sit down and how does it feel to play, you know? But I like have zero interest in getting into another game like that.
Yeah.
As it stands now, I have been much more enjoying games like, and I'm sure anyone who listens to this knows this, God of War, that I can just play through a linear campaign as long as it's good. Just play through a great game and be done with it, and then fuck around with it again if I want to, or challenge myself or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something more like Overwatch or a Battle Royale where, Overwatch, there is a progression system, every season with comp and everything, but each game is like its own, like you're not building to something, like you're not grinding, you're just kind of playing.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't even have that much time to play, because I've been playing a lot of Apex. I've been playing, not Overwatch so much the last week because of Apex. But even like Destiny, I haven't played much recently, and that honestly says nothing about where Destiny's at. I still enjoy Destiny. I think it's, in a lot of ways, is in a good spot. There's definitely some issues. PvP needs some work. We'll get to that when Lego shows up. But I just don't have the desire to grind Destiny like I used to, so I can't find myself at all wanting to add another game to that.
I'm 100% with you on that, Hove. I mean, that's a lot of like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I mean, there was a ton of side things to do, but you're basically playing front to start with a very a very defined beginning and a very defined end for the most part. And there's some things like, again, you can go back, they've added some DLC, there's some free DLC, those types of things, but you can do that at your own pace and you never feel like you're falling behind anywhere. I mean, there is that snowballing effect. I mean, and we've talked about that recently about, you miss a little bit of Destiny and now you're like, oh my gosh, where am I at? And I think that was the episode with Chad Lantis. But, I haven't taken a break from Destiny because I don't think the game's in a good place or because, I'm not enjoying it. I mean, we are doing something similar for 4 or 5 years now or whatever, but it's mostly like, look, even Bungie devs would tell you sometimes when it be like a period like this, hey, take a break, we play other things,
they play other things,
yeah,
be a fan of gaming.
Yeah, be a fan of gaming. So I just enjoy doing other things, and I'll be excited to go back to Destiny when eventually I do go back, just because it is a game that does have a way of pulling me back in, when they have something new and the gunplay comes back and people are around. And I think for me, and I think for all of us here having a podcast, like playing Destiny is a lot about the community, and kind of your immediate community of friends and so forth, and like what they're doing, like, right? If like a bunch of people text me, hey, we're getting on Destiny, I'll jump on, even if I'm taking a break, just because that's a big driver. But there's kind of seasons for those things, and no pun intended with like a season pass or anything, but just seasons of people playing the game. And right now, not a lot of us are. So it's not because the game's bad. I'm 100% with you, just because I like doing other things. And yeah, having a game as a service like Anthem, where you have to feel like you're constantly grinding, that's a lot to take on. I mean,
and it's not even, I wouldn't even put it on, while there are issues, I think, with, to a point where gaming's going with things like games as a service, because then it's no longer a game, it's a service. But that's besides the point. It's more, I think, me changing, because I loved grinding the shit out of Destiny for how many years and like always being there. And now, and I know this may sound a little bit contradictory, because for anyone else who's around, I've been saying from the beginning, I didn't get this in depth with it, that I wasn't super into Anthem, but I do want to play The Division. Now, my thing with that is, it's hard because I may lose interest in that really fast for the same reason. but I don't want to play the Division so much because of the looter shooter grind, build up your character. I just think that story and that idea are really cool. The like kind of post whatever disease outbreak, and there's this like I think that all sounds really cool. I may go into that, realize that I'm falling behind in that, and drop that too. I mean, not drop it, but move away from it. Yeah, because I don't know. Like I it's not the time because I've been playing a shit ton of Apex, but it's just kind of like you can just start over. You can stop where you want. It's not. It's hard for me to explain. I know you get it, but for anyone who's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It just that doesn't pull me in anymore, and I don't want to pick up another game that I'm playing because of that grind. Because that's kind of where it is. Division like still could have that, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the real world aspect of it to me. That I know you build up armor and shit, but like you're still a dude. You're not like gaining laser beams and grinding against to forge guns in an alien world. Like you're a dude running around with some machine guns, shooting some dudes. Like
right. I mean, it's a departure in terms of like theme and everything else. And I agree. I think you don't really get to play the perspective of. I mean, it's like always that like post-apocalyptic or post-disease breakout. You gotta get to play that immediate aftermath or set so far in the future that everything's changed. I think the idea of like kind of like, oh, well, here are the immediate people trying to like settle and rebuild. You don't always play in that kind of middle ground. So I think that is an interesting point. It is one of the things that the people I asked about the Division beta kind of highlighted, like, oh, it's different in that way. So that does intrigue me as well. But yeah, like the maintenance end on some games is tough. It is. I mean, psychologically, to have multiple of those things going on, if that's not your job or profession, because it could quickly become that, and then you kind of sucks the fun out of it to some degree. And I think that was something, again, that we probably hit on a little bit, something we could probably talk on in the future here, the games as a service kind of concept. But
so I'm just laughing at Gorniak in chat kind of making fun of me. He said, I'm just a dude playing a dude, shooting at other dudes.
But the other thing too is I don't know if the communities come with it. And I know we've talked about, especially early, but if you look at, have 122 episodes primarily centered around Destiny, obviously the community, the friendships you built, all of those things kind of, I think, have sustained me in Destiny, obviously self-admitted, that much longer than maybe those would. Like I never built a lot of friendships in Division, right? I never built a lot of, and I don't know if that will happen in Anthem, and it really hasn't happened in Destiny 2 so much as you're just carrying people forward, and maybe you're picking up one or two people from somebody else's really close-knit group, and you kind of just combine in that way.
To be fair, though, as far as Destiny 2 goes, I think a lot of that is just the fact that you already have a large defined group.
Yeah.
That you're not playing solo.
That's true. I mean, yeah, when you kind of bring in, maybe it's like going from like the first grade to second grade, like you already know X amount of people or whatever in that way. But I mean, I think those things are important, and I think as Lego probably gets here ready to join, and I'm thinking about having to actually spend Valentine's Day away from the podcast here. Just having the discussion we have earlier, and no real details, but I think we all know that having known you guys pretty well over the last couple years, you and Lego especially, cancer has kind of touched all of our lives, and it's one of those things that you're able to talk about with friends at a point that you've made primarily over video games, to have a discussion around that earlier on today, just based on that conversation, kind of in the name of RezoCast, as much as they allowed you to do it on the site, made just a small donation to the Jimmy V Foundation, working around college basketball and those types of things. But that's spawned from having a great community and great friendships within that. That's allowed that game to go through to be more than just Destiny. Like I could play the Division with you 4, I could play Anthem with you 4, and I think that's kind of been more the life of this game to me than the other games. And so not only do I not want to take on a game like that, but not having that kind of upfront at this point in time or known, and it just be the subset of is not the same thing. And I don't know, it's hard. I generally don't have too much of an issue articulating those types of things, but I think it's all the stuff that comes with Destiny being the first game that I did something like this with, right? I never had a podcast for, even when we talked about nostalgic games like that, there was no podcast.
Well, did podcasts exist then?
Well, I mean,
to be fair,
for some of those games, no. For some of those games, no. But for some of those things, maybe some of the more current ones, but Destiny was kind of the first game that I experienced in this way, and so I think it's always going to kind of have that pull on you, the same way that when we talked about those nostalgic games, they're always going to matter for that reason. And so to take on a game of full grind without maybe I don't know. I don't say without the possibility of happening because that's not true, but you know what I mean. I think just the community aspect of it is why this has worked, and so I don't look at the division as like that. I look at it as like, oh my gosh, my gear always were terrible in Division 1, and I always had glitched out
Well,
missions, and
I want to ask you something. First of all, you are planning on getting the Division 2 still, right?
oh, I put $5 down on it, so probably. I mean,
Okay.
I guess I will get
Well,
it. I did sign up on Tinks's sheet, so I probably should.
the thing, and this is going back to a point that you have made since probably right around the time Destiny 2 was announced. Maybe even when we just had rumors about it. But one of the probably most consistent things I've seen as far as people talking about what they thought of the beta, whether they meant it in a good way, a bad way, or just a point, is that it's more Division. It's just Division 1, but like newer. One, do you think that that's going to end up being a problem? And two, how much does that, the point that I was saying that you've made a bunch of times is Destiny kind of, and I think we're really starting to see that now, is kind of having that problem. It's not that the game's bad or anything, but we're still doing, story mission strikes, raids, PvP. Is there something? Do you think it's something where these devs need to be like, we need to completely change the game, or then is it no longer Division and you're just playing a different game in the world of Division? Do you know what I mean? I get this. The same thing bothers me with bands when people are like, oh, their second album sounded just like their first one, and then when they say, oh, look, they've grown and their music's so much different. Well, they're not playing the same music. Like, it's, do you know what I mean? Like, that bothers me. There's a thin line there, and it kind of, I'm starting to see it in games too. You keep doing what makes you successful, or do you completely change it up and see what happens? Also, I think Triton just froze. Nice. So it's just me. So, chat. What's going on? How's everybody? Wait. Is Triton back? Maybe? He's trying. Somebody's trying. But anyway, yeah, one, for instance, I know that Triton's not here, but anybody who's here listening, the thing that Linkin Park, for instance, between their first album, Hybrid Theory, and their second album, Meteora, they were very, very similar sounds. Obviously different songs, but it sounded like a continuation of that album. Now, while I do understand, like, growing and changing, you get a lot of bands that, all of a sudden they're playing a totally different style of music, and then really, are they that same band anymore? It kind of throws me off. The band that I think has done it the best has been the Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you listen to their old stuff and their new stuff, it does sound very different, but it still sounds like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Does that make sense to anybody? Like, you can still tell it's them. So, it's the Hove Show now. Yeah, I'm not prepared for this. Generally, if I knew this was coming, I could have a big rant ready. I could do all kinds of stuff. Who knows? But now, it's just me chilling. Maybe one day, maybe I'll just like pick up my setup and we'll just go to Eaton Park, and you guys can see what Eaton Park's all about. Not that anybody cares, but what are you gonna do? Speaking of bands who's interested in that movie Yesterday, Gordon Yak, I did just see that trailer yesterday, no pun intended. I think it looks really cool, actually. I think it could be really interesting. I like the music of the Beatles, so that'll obviously play a big part, but the idea has been done, just the kind of somebody claiming someone else's work for whatever kind of reason type of story has been done many times, but that's an interesting way. I demand a live RezoCast at GuardianCon. Litland, we have tried. We've talked about it many times. I believe the first year we went to GuardianCon, it was just Lego and I. Mana was there, but he wasn't part of the podcast yet. Last year it was just me and Mana. No, I think just me. And this year it's looking like maybe just me, Mana, and maybe Wilson. And none of us have any idea how to like set that up. We would need Lego. I'd love to do one. I think it'd be really fun. Like get a little coffee shop or something and do it live somewhere. But I don't know. I'd like to. Take us to Chick-fil-A, Hove? I would love to go to Chick-fil-A right now. Who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? Also, I have research purposes. That's true. Look, I'm going to put that, for anyone who missed it, I'm putting that link in chat again. It's really cool. I know it sounds stupid. It probably is stupid. But, you know, what are you going to do? Also, I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, but since I'm stuck here all by myself and I have nothing to talk about. Real quick. Wish it could happen or get a panel room. Yeah, no one will give us a panel room. That would be amazing. I would love to do any sort of panel, whether it's with the podcast, you know, or if we weren't all going like, you know, one of those streamer ones or podcaster ones or just gamer one, whatever. Like, I think that would be so much fun, but there's no reason for me to ever be on one. But anyway, I am finally, for anyone who has subbed here, I'm so sorry, but I have sent ideas and I'm waiting for sketches on emotes for the channel. So there are emotes coming soon, I hope. I don't know when. I don't want to rush, you know, perfection. Country's making fun of my hair because it's a mess. But they're coming. I think you guys are going to really like them. If you're someone who hangs around, whether it be the podcast or just my stream or just me in general, you'll get a kick out of them. They're all kind of inside jokes, kind of, but they're takes on other popular types of emotes, using some inside jokes, if that makes any sense. Lego's going to be super happy, by the way. He said he's coming, and I'm going to just get to tell him about all the stuff I've been talking about with you guys. I really, at this point, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to have a monologue ready for every episode. And maybe one day, I'll just kick everyone, and I'll have a monologue episode. I think that would be a lot of fun. Lego wouldn't be happy about it. Triton probably wouldn't care. Mana probably wouldn't be here. Wilson would probably care a little bit. Will the emotes be emo? I mean, no. Tacos, all the tacos. There may be a taco. There may not be a taco. You could probably be on the pedophile mustache panel. Thank you, Matt Grundy. I appreciate that. I mean, it's just kind of, I didn't shave today. It's not that bad today. It's not like whenever I knew it was bad and just continued to grow it, and even my boss's boss was like, dude, what's up with your mustache? Told him I was trying to be creepy, and he told me it was working. What are you gonna do? I'm not a facial hair type of guy. I look like some sort of derelict. Hey Hove, do you watch The Masked Singer? I haven't. No, I honestly haven't watched like broadcast or even like just TV in a long time. If I have free time, I'm usually watching something on Netflix or just YouTube videos or gaming. I do have cable and everything. I probably should just get rid of it. But all right, now I really don't know what's happening. I think this is Discord. Appears you've been by yourself in this call for... Oh. Well, we're going to start this call again. That's embarrassing. Discord just told me I was lame. Apparently you've been in this call for more than 5 minutes. Oh, Lego, great timing. Guess what just happened?
What happened?
All of a sudden, Discord went out for me, too, when I was talking to everybody. And I went to Discord to see what the problem was, and it says, apparently, you've been in this call for more than 5 minutes alone. So we're ending the call. So Discord pretty much just told me I was a loser and have no friends.
He was like, yeah, that podcasting thing you do, you can't apparently do that by yourself.
No, you're not allowed. So, welcome, Lego. Thank God you're here.
This sounds like quite the episode.
It's going to be good. We've talked about a little Destiny, some
Okay.
Anthem, Division, Eaton Park, Chick-fil-A. Because I started running out of things to talk about, I let the cat out of the bag. I told everyone that there's emotes on the way.
Oh, yeah. People know now.
There's a link in chat if you'd like to check it out about the very regimented system that Chick-fil-A has for making their chicken sandwiches. I actually recommend giving it a read. It's very interesting.
Wow. It actually does sound interesting.
It's very interesting. I'm not even kidding. It's really cool. It's on Business Insider. Triton and I talked about how he's buying a house and he's getting a new house because he needs an extra bedroom for me. What else?
So it was a very Valentine's like intimate episode.
Well, yeah, especially now that you're here. I don't know if you noticed. I didn't know if you wanted me to tell everyone this or not, but I did. The name of this episode, or at least on Twitch, is the one where Lego professes his love for Hove. And
wow.
I did tell everybody though. I let the cat out of the bag. That the reason you were late is because you were busy writing a song to sing to me live on the show to win me over.
I think that this is going the other way around because I think that like you're giving me all the signals right now with the vibrant red heart shirt. That it looks, I don't know, it looks very Valentine's-y. That's all.
I told them, I was like, I'm texting, if anyone's wondering what I'm doing, I'm texting Lego that we need him because I'm currently talking about how Chick-fil-A sandwiches are made. And they were like, Triton was like, is there any ETA? Has he said anything? And I was like, he just texted me and said something about, it's very emotional. There's lots of tears, but the song's coming along.
Oh.
So that's where we're at. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I told everyone to go fuck themselves at one point with a Happy Valentine's Day at the end. I don't remember why, but I did. No, it's been good. We didn't touch the TWAB because we knew that's kind of your thing. I started to kind of like the whole Q&A monologue thing, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare like a monologue for every episode in case this happens again.
Isn't that what 7 in Hove Heaven was supposed to be? Like a monologue?
Kinda. But, you know, I feel like we all... Oh, that's what it was. Thank you, Country in chat. I was saying, like, I don't know why... Oh, I used to listen to all the episodes of our show, and I don't anymore for two reasons. Okay. One being I don't have, like, Android Auto in my work van.
Oh.
And two being that the reason I used to listen to them was not because I was like, wow, we're so good, I want to listen to it again. It was more to, like, critique myself.
Oh, okay.
And now I just don't give a fuck. Not because, like, I don't care if we're good or bad. It's just, like, by this point, you either like me or don't. And I don't. You can go fuck yourself if you don't. If you do, thanks for listening.
Well, I am definitely still in the mode to improve, which is why last episode, you know, I even asked people like, hey, what are you thinking about Apex Legends? Because obviously that's something that we're probably going to end up talking about. Not like, you know, at the beginning of the show. And some people responded, and I appreciated it too, that like, hey, you know, I'm not really interested in listening if you aren't talking about, you know, Destiny related stuff to some point, you know, and we always will, you know. My point of the question was like, okay, how soon can we talk about Apex Legends versus talking about Destiny stuff as far as beginning of the show? Because I feel like most of the time we'll end up starting, other than the how our week's been, like we'll end up talking about a lot of Destiny stuff up front and then more joking stuff later. I know this episode may be an exception to that.
I mean, we talked Destiny. We kind of talked Destiny, games as a service, why I'm not excited for Anthem.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. Hove, I'm going to listen to this episode.
Oh,
let me tell you.
Thanks.
I want to know what you think about that.
Thanks, sweetie. Real quick, not to jump ahead to... God, you just had me thinking of Briar tweeting to us today about your eyes, and I was like, they're so blue. Anyway, that was another thing. I got to play Apex with Briar this weekend, and that was fun.
Yeah,
but not to skip ahead to community questions, but because you did bring up that you asked about, you know, how you feel about us playing, talking about other things, and I did notice. I think the one you're talking about was a comment on a YouTube video.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I do want to point out that Matt Grundy posted a couple questions and then added on, he tagged you personally. Said, personally, I don't mind at all when Yins, that's a Pittsburgh thing, when Yins talk about different games / topics. I think you'll have great perspectives, and I love how your personalities interact. This is my favorite part. It's not Destiny Cast. It's RezoCast. Boom,
It's
Matt
true.
Grundy.
It is true. Matt Grundy dropping the truth bombs.
And then he
Absolutely.
said, Wilson, thanks for the shout out last episode. Because remember, he stopped and said, real quick, shout out to Matt Grundy.
It was amazing. I remember that. Yeah, first off, I want to say, yeah, for sure that's the case, and I appreciate the reinforcement on that thing. But to please like kind of both crowds, because I know that there are people who like are looking for just Destiny stuff, because we're a Destiny clan is how we kind of got going and why we're here, even though we all do play other games together too. Like there's a ton of Rezo people playing the Division, which we talked about. There's a ton maybe playing Anthem. I don't know, we'll see.
Well, we know that at least one new game coming out is going to have an official Rezo presence, so I'm just saying.
Is that like an official thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, so I was gonna say something else about what was it? We were talking about playing other games. Oh, just like having Destiny stuff up front. That's obviously going to be something that we try to do. Which I know y'all talked about y'all's weeks already, but I got to do more comp this last week with Gunga.
Oh,
actually.
dear God.
Yeah, it was awesome. Me, Gunga, Litlin, and Merc with a mouth went off. And actually, what?
Litlin said the love story is happening before our eyes, so I did like a...
Okay. I don't know if I can talk with Ho staring at me like this.
Staring into your soul.
So I got to do some comp, and we actually went up. Like I was at 3750 somewhere around there.
You got it up.
We went past 4,000, like 4,100 maybe, and then we lost one or two games and ended up at 3950. I think is where I'm left at right now. So it's pretty.
What'd you start at? Ish.
Like 3750. Like so went up
Just
a few
curious.
hundred. You know, no, it's good. And then and me and Gunger are like right at the same place. I know she was playing with Mana tonight, so I'm curious how those games went. Litlin, I know you're in chat, so you might be able to tell me how they went because I know he was playing with them. And
yeah, Gunga came into Discord and said, "Can I please steal Mana tonight? I'm so sorry that it's Valentine's Day and I want to play with him."
And out of all the things she wants to do, she wants to bring him into comp.
Yeah,
not forgotten. Well, I also got to play doubles with Mighty Guy on Twitter. He's with Last Rites, and we're both Erentil mains, and we're both Titans, and we were both running One-Eyed Mask.
So you're terrible people.
So we were invincible, basically.
You were the reason people don't like comp.
Okay, so we matched a team like 4 times in a row, and we beat them the first time with our fusion rifles, and they were shotgunning. And then the second time, they pulled on, one of them put on an Erentil, and the other one put on Telesto, because they were like, we gotta use fusion rifles too, dang it, we can't beat these guys. And then they tried to beat us for 2 more games using fusion rifles.
Did you beat them every time?
Beat them every single time. And then the last time they played one round, like it was like the 4th game in a row, and they played one round and we completely wiped the floor with them, and then they just left. They were like, we're not doing this anymore.
You're a terrible person.
So yes, we are actually the reason people are not playing.
At least 4 people.
But I played 3 solo games too, and those all went really well. Even had my Blueberry clutch, an overtime moment that was really fun. It wasn't like the two wins, and whoever wins the next one takes it overtime, but it was still like an overtime on the second win of ours or something like that. And it was a really fun time. So I enjoyed playing doubles. The thing is though, did y'all talk about Crimson Days as an event at all?
No, because neither of us have played this week.
Okay, well for me, like. And you'll be able to relate to this because nothing has changed. It's basically what it was last year with the addition of a bow. You can chase this masterwork, or there's like some new. Is there a new emote you can buy, but not one you can earn, and then some stuff from last year you can earn. But the main thing is the bow. That's kind of it. And so there's just nothing new. And then I'm gonna stack more disappointment on top of that in a second with the TWAB, but I'm not gonna get there yet because I feel like I just read it, and so I'm like kind of emotional about it. No, not really. I'm not emotional, but kind of it does hit me in the feels a little bit, and we'll talk about that. But before I do that, I'm trying to think if there is something else from the week that I want to cover other than, last episode we kind of all talked about our mains in Apex for a second, and I just want to say Mirage is awesome.
I do.
Like,
here's my thing. I have actually gotten. Last week I was on the Mirage train. I've actually gotten off the Mirage train.
Oh, okay.
I think he's really fun, and there's some like kind of trolly moments, and he can be useful if you're
for bamboozling.
But for me, his utility comes in such specific situations and may not happen at all in a game. I mean, not just like the ult specifically. That I find Bangalore is kind of my go-to now if I get to pick anybody, because that smoke's great. The airstrike doesn't get a lot of kills because it takes a long time to go off.
Yeah,
but it can drive people.
It
can drive people into buildings. It can slow people down, and also paired with a Bloodhound. The Bloodhound pops his ult. You throw your smoke. You guys can see everybody. That's very nice.
That's right.
So that's probably the character I play if I have my choice. But lately, if nobody else is picking a Lifeline, I run Lifeline.
Okay.
Because those extra. No, he's Pathfinder. Sam plays Lifeline.
Yes.
Those extra packages. There's at least a purple piece of gear in there every time. I mean that. You're at a disadvantage if you're not running a Lifeline.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. And I agree. Like, I feel like Lifeline's really beneficial. And what I like about the two characters that I'm fluctuating between is because I feel like Wraith and Mirage both kind of operate in that mental game kind of state. And so if somebody picks Mirage, I feel pretty comfortable like switching to Wraith and going that route because it's kind of similar concepts, even though there's different things to do. And another thing about that game, I've really been enjoying playing with like everyone from every skill set. Like if there's people that aren't really into PvP that much, but they want to try out this new popular game, or if there are people that are really good, like I'm enjoying playing with both crowds of people, no matter what their skill set is, because it's a fun game, even if I end up having to solo something. Like even if I go in solo and play with blueberries, it's like, oh well, there's a chance that something crazy could happen at any second. Kind of like Rumble. I was thinking about this week. Is Rumble, I love the game type in Destiny so much because there's so much randomness and chaoticness. That's why I loved 8-Man Rumble, even though a lot of people weren't a fan of that. Like, that's why I liked it. And so to have this BR where, like, anything could happen, both your teammates could go down and you could end up, like, fighting in between two squads and somehow end up on top of it all. And I feel like that kind of thing could happen in Rumble, but this kind of puts it to a different degree in a different kind of game. So I like it for that reason. And I don't know, I just wanted to say I'm really enjoying it. I enjoyed my time in Destiny this week, even though there wasn't a lot new. I still enjoyed it, and I enjoyed my time playing Apex too.
Speaking of Destiny, I wanted to ask you something. So there's that
Is
new.
Is it about our Destiny, Hove?
Oh, that was a good one. Kind of. So you remember there was that time wasted on Destiny site that's been around for forever. Now there's a new one. I have no idea what it's called or the website, but I'm sure if you Google it, it pretty much tells you who you've played the most games with.
Oh,
total,
yes.
And then it breaks it down between PvP, raids, PvE. I mean, it breaks it down and it shows you like a top 5 or 10. Who was your number one on there? Who was your number one on there?
It happens to be this guy, Hove76.
That's me. And if you guys tuned in last week when Wilson and Lego were talking about how they were going to be Crimson Doubles partners, Lego even pointed out, oh, look, maybe Hove should be my Crimson Doubles partner. And I said, I don't know what I said. But then Lego turned right around and said, don't worry, Wilson, we'll make it happen. And that's when I said, well, you can go fuck yourself, guys.
Hey, I just want to put it out there that we'll make it happen doesn't mean that we won't still happen. That just means somebody else might happen, too. Like, wow. Additionally.
I didn't see you as that kind of guy, Lego. So my number one.
That website was cool though.
Yeah.
Like I liked seeing all the people that you played with, and it was interesting too. They had it broken down into activities, like whether it was Crucible or just everything.
Right.
And I I had I had you and Botbuster were dueling it out for the Crucible one a lot. Like I could see because it kind of.
I'm surprised, honestly, because
loading.
you've played so much comp with other people.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I was up there, honestly.
No, we still get our fair share of games in, Hove.
I'm just gonna say, my number one was Dewey by a surprisingly large margin.
I'm not surprised. I don't feel like I'm surprised.
Like almost double.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of that though comes from the fact that, especially for the last 6 months or so, Dewey and I only live one time zone away, which I know you and I do too. But we have similar schedules. We kind of work Monday through Fridays, 8 to 4. So we generally, when I first get home from work, Dewey and I end up playing games for an hour or two before anybody else is on. And then a lot of times at night, we're both up later than some people. So our schedules align the most.
That's actually what I was going to say. Okay, so the website is friendgame.report is the website. And I am not surprised, Hope, because of the work schedule thing and y'all's just timing of being online. That really determines a lot because you think about it, even in Resolute, there's a lot of people that I don't get to play with very much because they're in the UK and they're just awake, at hours that I'm not.
I was saying you and Bot normal gaming time. Also have similar schedules to a point.
We used to have more. He actually, we played together last time and he was like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. And I was like, I'm going to bed, man. I don't. And he's like, I miss you staying up late. And I was like, yeah, I don't stay up that late anymore.
Yeah, he's still later than you, but there's definitely times where, you're always like, oh, I'll probably be on around 10. And I'm like, that's when I'm going to bed.
Yeah. It's actually a weird point right now because I've kind of varied so much. When I first joined Resolute, I was actually a morning gamer, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., before work. And I just went to bed super early, and then jobs changed and everything, and I have a completely different schedule now. But back then I played with Claw because he did hospital work, and so it was all morning stuff, or he would just be random.
I miss Claw.
Random. I know, and so and then I'd play with Guillermo and everyone from the UK at that time too. A lot of times
because it was mid-afternoon for them.
Yeah, and now it's swapped for a little while to where I was much later, and your schedule was different too. And then now I'm kind of at this weird in between where just when everybody's getting off to go to bed, but yet the people who stay up super late aren't really on yet, and so I can kind of play with both groups, but for just a small amount of time. It's kind of frustrating because you kind of like having the same squad for the night, but it doesn't really happen anymore for me.
Yeah, because I used to. I was in retail, so I'd have days where maybe I didn't get home till 11, but then I'd be back up at 6, so I didn't play much at all. But then there were days where if I got off at 3, and I didn't have to be back till almost 3 the next day, I could stay up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock and still get 5, 6, 7 hours of sleep and be fine. Now, even though I can play earlier in the day, which is why Dewey and I match up so well, if I stay up that late, and I have stayed up way too late the last week and a half playing Apex Legends, and it's shown in the times I've gotten up for work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's changed a lot. So,
real quick, you reminded me of, I don't know what it was, just friends interaction on Twitter.
You remind me of a girl that I once knew.
I just wanted to sing a Killer song so badly.
Oh, I was going with, who sings the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know. But Usher? Had a lot of interaction with a non-pig this week after talking about lore stuff last week a little bit, just hinting on the Dreadganyor.
It's Usher.
Oh, okay. And Shin Malfour stuff. He went on to tell a story about potentially who Shin. There's a bunch of theories because there's a whole nother set of lore, and he linked to all of it, and was talking about I think it's some ghost fragments, I think is what it is, and it's talking about a kid who was with a group that was traveling, and there was a ghost that this kid died, and the ghost went to go res the kid. All of a sudden when the kid died, the ghost was like, oh crap, this is the that my light has been found here. Like I see something in this kid. I don't know what it is. And it describes it in a really interesting way that makes you kind of rethink the whole Uldren thing and him rising. And so definitely go check it out. I wish I could remember the exact ghost fragment that it is. Or ghost story. That's the word I'm looking for, is a ghost story. But when he resurrects the kid, the ghost, it like says his lines out loud, like what he's thinking in the description of the lore. And the ghost is thinking to himself, like, well, like, how is this kid going to protect himself? Does he even know what he has? And all these fallen were coming in on them from every side, and there was no way that all the people were going to live. So the ghost like made a distraction and went away from the child he just resurrected to go basically sacrifice himself and save everyone. And so you don't know what happened to the kid or to the ghost. It's not really clear. Like, did the ghost die like you think it did? But then later on in the story with Jared Ward and Shin Malfour, you think that that Shin has never died and the ghost chooses him anyway. But what if he's the kid that got resurrected back then? And a lot of people like theorize that maybe that was this, maybe not that was the same ghost, but maybe that Shin had been resurrected by the light and the ghost saw that. Because there's like a line of dialogue even in there that when the ghost first scanned me or like laid eyes on me or something, there's some sort of hint to like it, that Shin had light even before the moment that the ghost went to him.
That's all very interesting. I don't mean to try to shoot it down, but the first thing I read in chat here is Gorniak said, well, then the kid would always be a kid. Guardians don't age.
Well, that is theorized too, because it started when Anon posted this. It started a huge line of dialogue between so many different people going back and forth on this exact subject. Because I was wondering the same thing. I was like, well, can the new ghost, like, would it be able to resurrect him if it's not his ghost? Does it have the ability to do that? And then people were saying, well, in a different scenario, like when your ghost finds Cade and Cade's not dead yet, it's like, can you heal him? And he's like, he's too far gone. Like, he says he's too far gone. Like, he could have done something, but he's just too far gone. And so that's like the area of road that Twitter conversation went down. But then there's another where we were talking about aging, and they were saying there's some theories, because no one really knows, it's all theorized, there's no set in stone thing in the lore yet about it, but it's theorized that you age to like your golden age and then you don't age. That was one theory. And then the other was that you just slowly age. And so I don't know, there's just mixed things, but a lot of people seem to be on the train of like, well, you do to a certain point and then you just slightly, like, you're just kind of that age for a long time.
Just curious.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was really, really interesting. And it's definitely worth checking out. I'm going to have to look it up. I'll look it up while we're talking about other stuff, but I thought that like made my week reading all that stuff. It was super interesting.
I was actually thinking now might be the time to get into the TWAB.
I think it's a pretty good time.
I'm going to tell you, you and I are going to, at least to a point, differ.
Oh, well, okay. So I thought about you while I was reading this, but
did you? Did you?
I did.
So you thought about me today on Valentine's Day.
Because of things that you have said in the past on this podcast that we've brought up multiple times about how you want things to change, and that kind of is encapsulated here. So first off, they talk about very briefly stuff about Crimson Days, which we all know, which I just want to throw out there with Crimson Days. It's pretty easy to get the hearts that you need to buy the items. The one thing that is probably the most essential that you do is there's a nightfall bounty for you to do with somebody else, to do a nightfall with a partner, and you get 75 of those hearts from it. And you can almost buy the bow immediately. Like, you just need a few more, 25 more, to be able to buy the bow. So that one bounty alone, like, just be sure to do the nightfall and you'll be kind of set for whatever you're looking to get out of the event. Okay, let's jump into it. Basically, Trials, as you know, Trials of the Nine went on hiatus back in season 4. We've all been asking for it back and how it will be evolving, and they say we still don't have a timeline for when it may return. And furthermore, trying to figure out where to even start. Basically, they talk about the original 3v3 elimination mode back in 2015 when they made it, with the card system, and how great it was back then.
Which was Trials of Osiris, for anybody who may not have played and then D1.
Yes. And now Trials of the Nine and Destiny 2, they never really hit that same mark, and they've been unhappy with the way that it's played out, which the community has, that we all feel that way too. And it's nice to hear them actually say, they feel the same way about it. They feel like it hasn't hit those marks. And then they go on to say until basically both Destiny and the online PvP scene has evolved since 2015. And so we don't believe that bringing back the 2015 version of Trials of Osiris would accomplish what our goals are today. Until we have a solid prototype for a pinnacle PvP in-game activity, Trials is staying on hiatus indefinitely and will not return over the course of the next few seasons. When we have those new plans ready, we'll be sure to share them with you. So that is some pretty big news. And the reason that I feel like I get the initial punch in the gut is not because they're changing Trials, or not because we're not getting the original 3v3. Because yes, I know we've wanted that, and I've talked about how even that would be great, and they've even praised Apex Legends for doing the 3-man teams because of the clutch moments that ensue. But the part that gets me isn't innovation for change and like making the formula better or even something different. I don't know what Bungie's going to do. The main thing for me is that it's delayed for several more seasons, because we're at a point right now where there's so many games coming out. And I mean, yeah, we've had games before too, but with the way the season pass is playing out and the way that we're not getting much Crucible content so far within the season pass, it's just pushing PvP players like me further away, it feels like. Not that I'm not, I came in for doubles. I'm still going to be doing stuff within the Destiny universe, but Trials was the thing that brought the community together on the weekends. And to know that that's not coming for several seasons, that's difficult to swallow. But what I was going to say, and you can probably lean into this and explain, I thought of you immediately when they said both Destiny and the online PvP scene has evolved since 2015. We don't believe bringing back the same Trials of Osiris would accomplish the goals today. It reminded me of what you wanted whenever we were entering Destiny 2. You were like, I don't want Trials of Osiris. I want something better, different. I don't want it to be the same thing. Like those were, your words back before Destiny 2 even came out. And I imagine you can explain more and elaborate more, but I thought of you immediately when I read that.
Well, there's a lot to this, because I have very different feelings on it depending on kind of what angle I'm coming at it from.
Yeah.
In the overall general sense of Trials isn't coming back yet, I don't care. Just in the general sense. I do think they're very, very, very correct on bringing back 2015 original Trials is not going to work. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are saying, listen, until you come up with something, just bring it back or open it back up in Destiny 1 or, whatever, it worked. But here's the thing, and I know there were changes made throughout Trials of Osiris's life that, special ammo economy and all those other things, right?
Uh-huh.
But did you have the same thrill by the end of Trials as you did when it launched? Not did you enjoy playing it, but was it the same thrill for you?
No, of course not.
And I think, honestly, people are looking at this much more from a nostalgic point of view than really, I don't want to say rational, because I don't want to say people being irrational, but kind of a realistic thing. Yeah, if they said, listen, we're bringing back the original Trials of Osiris, it's going to be 3v3 elimination, card system, all that, everyone would, not everyone, but a lot of people would be like, yeah, great, I loved it, and blah, blah, blah. And even though there's other issues I'm going to get into, for the beginning, I think people would be like, yeah, man, I love this. I always liked doing this, blah, blah, blah. But it's the same reason, at least in my opinion, and Triton and I brought it up again. one of the reasons that Destiny 2 has had such a hard time, because we're just doing, for all intents and purposes, the same things we've been doing for 4 years now, right? To a point. And so I think bringing back the original Trials would, not only would it just be a Band-Aid, but it'd be one of those really shitty off-brand Band-Aids that falls off like the second you go out of your house.
Yeah.
I don't think that would hold people's attention for that long. You'd get a couple weeks out of it maybe. And yeah, you'll have people that still really like it, but I don't think that's the answer at all. But you're right. I think, from what I'd said, that's what I'm saying. You're right about that. I still think that to do something that would really excite me, because the biggest thing about Trials was it was this new, exciting thing. I think it's they're going to have to come out with something fresh, and I think they know that. Whether people think that they need that or not, I think that's the only way they're going to make something that has the success that Trials had again. And that's a long shot. I mean, for them to do that again, honestly, I'm not going to count on it. And that's not saying anything about their skills or the game or anything, but I mean, that was something that we hadn't seen before, and it was great. I mean, how often does that happen?
Yeah, it's not very often. I mean, I would like to take it a step further than that, in that I'm gonna get off topic if I go this way, but
do it.
So not
over to the
off
dark.
topic.
Come to the dark side.
No, not that far. Just off topic from your point a little bit, and that is that it has to do with making something great though, and making something that is like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is an experience. A PvP pinnacle worthy experience, like Trials was when it first came out. And maybe we won't get that exact magic again, but I think that they could do something similar, and I think that they're aiming for that feeling, regardless of game style, play style, whatever. They're aiming for that feeling of making it to the lighthouse, or trying to get to the lighthouse, one or the other. And one of the things with that is, they recently brought out a lot of, this may have nothing to do with it, but this is how I read the room, is they just brought a lot of streamers out. And I talked about it a few episodes ago, like, what do you think all these people were brought out for? We never saw anything. Normally they talk about it, or like, we can't wait for this thing I can't talk about. And nobody said anything. Like, we don't know anything about, we just have no idea. And what do you think are the chances that they went out there and tried out? They were like, okay, here's a version of bringing like D1 Trials over, and they wanted to get like a feel, like, we don't think this is gonna work, what do y'all think? And they were like, yeah, this doesn't work. Like, is that a possibility? And they were just like, yeah, we agree, we have to do something entirely new. And they don't have it yet, they're trying to figure out what it is. I don't know, that's just the first thing that comes to my mind.
That was the first thing that came to my mind too, because you and I both agreed on that. It seemed very much geared towards PvP, and it was secretive when they all went out there. And so that makes a lot of sense, and it still could be it, but something just doesn't feel right about that.
You know what? It may not even be that they tried something out. They may not have even touched a D1 type of anything. It may have been more like, remember the session that we had whenever weapons weren't right and they brought in all the content? Yeah, the summit. So imagine a PvP summit that's just about Trials, or a PvP pinnacle experience. Maybe they tossed Trials lingo out the window, and they were just like, what is the feeling that y'all want? What is the thing that keeps people engaged, keeps people watching streams, keeps people involved in the Destiny community, and makes it fun again, for PvP in particular, and not the grind that is competitive? Because while comp is fun to me and an experience, it doesn't feel fun every day.
Right.
Whereas Trials can feel fun in 2 hours. You're like, wow, that was an experience packaged in 2 hours, and so maybe they took all those PvP like experts or normal players too, I don't know who all went out, and brainstorm, did the summit style thing to get all these ideas, and then they're going to come out with whatever it is that they have planned later. The thing that I guess it's more realistic, and that's what I'm struggling with, is it's realistic for them to take several seasons to do this, It's just difficult to hear those words when like, when is Destiny 3 coming out? Is there gonna be a Destiny 3? There, we only have the roadmap.
Nothing.
We know nothing about anything. And we said, even when we acknowledged that Activision was splitting, that, you know, things may take longer for it to be the perfect experience. You know, maybe we'll get the perfect thing, but it may take a little longer.
Quickly, I just want to throw this out there. I don't want to discuss it, but it made me think of something. There was an article I read, I think just today, that was kind of Activision. I think it was another earnings call saying why they split with Bungie, and they were saying, you know, that Destiny wasn't performing financially. While it's critically acclaimed, it wasn't performing up to their standards financially. And the biggest thing was that, paraphrasing, obviously, one of the biggest things was that Destiny was taking up too many of Activision's resources. And I forget how it was phrased, but I'm pretty sure that was geared towards Vicarious and High Moon. So I'm pretty sure they will be getting pulled. Like I said, I'm speculating, but the way that sounded is what that made me think, because we were debating that previously.
Makes sense, yeah.
Back to that, though, I'm with you. That was my first thought. And while I know they would have had to sign an NDA and no one could talk about it, the responses from the few people I've seen that I know went to that don't seem to me like they had an inkling about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're hiding it very well.
Interesting.
Although on the flip
talking about responses from the TWAB like today, is that what you're
just
saying?
Twitter,
yeah.
Now, granted, there's at least one or two that haven't really said anything about it, which also goes the other way. That maybe they just are avoiding the conversation because they know more than. But if that's the case, that it was something like that, I would be very disappointed in the way Bungie is handling this, because I think at this point, if they did have something like that, even if it was still going to be a couple seasons, they should have come out and said something along the lines of, we've talked with some community members, because that's one of the big things I'm seeing from some high profile people that are level headed and approach it in a balanced way. That, why don't we have another summit? Why don't you ask us? Like, we're trying to help, blah 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 blah. And I feel like either they're back to being shitty communicators, which is debatable anyway. But it would be very easy to say, listen, we've talked with some people, we've had some brainstorms, we haven't come up with anything, and that's why we're taking these seasons. But you did mention something that really made me think about the way they're going to approach it. We were talking, you and I specifically, talking about how trials used to make you feel and everything, like the excitement and everything. How has Bungie always gone about the way they make Destiny? How have they always asked for criticisms? What do they actually want to know?
Their feelings. Yeah.
Not like, I don't like this gun. How does it make you feel? What do you want to feel? And so that is why I do think they're going to completely revamp it, because Trials is going to make you feel nostalgic. It's going to make you feel like it used to. Whereas their thing, no matter what the game mode becomes, the way they're looking at it, and I guarantee you this, is we need to do something that makes people feel excited, feel new, feel fresh, feel, nervous, whatever, That's how they're approaching it. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I totally, completely agree with everything you're saying. And I think that there's a chance that if there was some kind of summit, first of all, I want to say I agree with you. I wish that if that is the case, that they did do that they would come out and say that, hey, this was a summit focused on this. We were getting, information on how to make this better. Because that would go over well with the community. Granted, there are outliers of, the one Reddit post that's like, why do you only listen to the streamers? You should listen to a normal person. And it's like, of course, there are normal people at these things too. Like we've seen that in the past, them bringing out Redditors, and people that don't stream and stuff like that. Like that does happen. Just normal gamers. So that's kind of an invalid opinion, and in my opinion. Wait, what?
Inception?
Opinion? Yeah, okay. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. Is I think you're right. They should come out and say it if that's the case. But also 100% agree with you that feelings are, if they did have that summit, I guarantee you what you said, that they asked, like, how does this make you feel? What feeling are you looking for? And they really narrowed those things down to create something new that fit in that category. They're obviously not going to bring all these people in and be like, what do we do? How do we make trials? And they take all the ideas and put it together into something. Like, no, that's not how you make a game. That's like doing which actually came up this week. Was it the anniversary of or did it just got brought up maybe? But no, it was an anniversary of it. The Pokemon Twitch plays thing where everybody was like playing together at once on Twitch. And
I don't know anything about it.
Well,
you should already know that with me and Pokemon.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there's still hope, and that they're still striving for the experience. We're not getting just, which is what I'm proud of. I'm still proud of them for taking down Trials of the Nine, and recognizing this isn't working and making something new. It's just sad to see it take so many seasons, and it does feel like maybe we would have something better if we went to the Trials D1 style, and maybe it would hold people over for a little while. But I do agree with Bungie that it wouldn't work in this era of gaming as it did back then.
And it's probably not worth the long conversation it could turn into between us right now. But there are so many factors besides what I said about like it only being a shitty bandage. I was corrected in chat that Band-Aids are a brand.
Off-brand Band-Aid is what.
Well, it's the same thing.
Say.
Band-Aids and Kleenex both. Like most people just say Kleenex, but it doesn't.
True.
Regardless, that's irrelevant. There's a lot of other things that would be hit or miss, and I've seen arguments both ways. I'm not going to get into them, but does this sandbox, do these weapon types, are they going to work with a 3v3 elimination? Are some of these weapons like Not Forgotten and Luna's and some of these pinnacle weapons, how much are they going to just ruin? Could they ruin Trials for a lot of people, the experience? I'm not even putting any opinion forward on any of that, but there's just so much more to bring it back. Just bring back what we used to have. Like you think that's going to work because that's what you're used to, but it doesn't mean it's going to work, right?
Yeah.
So
I would argue slightly on the other side that like it wouldn't work in the way that I think everyone would expect it to. It might work in a way to hold you over, but like you said, it might be a crappy Band-Aid. Because like back then, 2015...
Crappy bandage.
We didn't have, really battle royales were like just wasn't PUBG like just kind of a thing?
No.
Or was it not even a thing yet?
No, not even a thing.
So like there weren't battle royales, which... that, and it's interesting because battle royales are really the only Trials like I feel like I was drawn towards battle royales because of the Trials experience. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And now I want a better Trials experience to pull me out of the battle royale experience. And I don't know what that is yet. But I think that's what Bungie is aiming for, because they know that primary, like a huge audience of PvP players have gravitated, not everyone, I know there are people that don't enjoy it, but have gravitated towards battle royale style environments, and it's a competition now between battle royales and this kind of shooter. And what are you offering as like a pinnacle, like stressful, like you're 1 out of 100 people that are about to win this thing, and how do you do it within 30 minutes to an hour? It's a difficult thing to accomplish.
That made me think, like, we have said for years, every time Destiny's had a lull or a rough spot, that, hey, even though until now it hasn't happened, hey, they're lucky right now, but this game's going to be coming out and this game's going to be coming out. They need to step it up because they're going to have competition in this space. And I think that's finally kind of coming to fruition, right? Like, there's a lot. I know that every winter and every year we talk about all these games, but I don't know that I've seen this many different games pull people away around the same time as what's going on right now, right?
Yeah, because you've got games for both crowds. There's PvE games that are coming out, like, obviously the Division had players already going to it, but now you've got Anthem that is specifically targeted towards PvE players, and then you've got games like Apex that are specifically drawing PvP players, along with, Battlefield and all the other games that have come out that also bring PvP players. So, yeah, I do agree with you that now more than ever, there's just so many more places people can go to get that fill. And I think that they want people to be gamers. I think that there's just, that's even what they tried to do with Destiny 2 originally, was they're like, okay, well, we won't necessarily compete with those games. We'll be an additional thing to them. And then they're like, oh, wait, people want this to be their daily game. And now they're having to, like, figure out how to do that.
Yeah, it just seems like there's different games pulling people away from every different aspect that kept them around. You kind of got Anthem and Division, the grindy looter shooter type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You got battle royales coming out that are kind of, like we said, kind of pulling away like a Trials crowd because of that like adrenaline, that excitement, that each battle royale or each card is kind of this like half-hour subsection of gaming. Do you know what I mean?
Dude, it's so interesting thinking about that comparison to me. Like, maybe listening or thinking about the Trials experience being, it started out in D1 like an hour and a half kind of thing, and then Bungie unintentionally went the opposite direction because these battle royales came out and they took that stressful grind of a feeling to be the top out of 100 people or 60 people or whatever it is. And for Trials, it wasn't that many, but it felt like you were climbing a mountaintop of people in an hour and a half to make it to the lighthouse. And battle royales took that formula, multiplied the number of people you had to climb over, but in a shorter amount of time, 30 minutes to 45 minutes rather than an hour and a half. And Bungie unintentionally went the other direction. And with Destiny 2 Trials of the Nine, it took like 2 hours minimum to like complete, maybe a little bit faster, but to complete
90 minutes of that were because of the fucking intros.
Yeah, because of the intro. Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so there was just no way to get around, or the game types, the countdown. It just took, there were just so many rounds. And then also survival, it's like elimination times, 3 or whatever. And so, yeah, they just everything took longer, and time to kill was like, everything was longer, right. Literally.
Except for never mind.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out, and I know you know this, but just for anyone listening, I think we're all aware, battle royales didn't just show up like around 2017, 2018. They had been around, but for the most part had been PC only because they were mods of existing games. Mostly. Yeah. H1 was out, but still, they were all like pre-beta, pre-alpha, early access. PUBG was the first one to really kind of blow up and bring it really mainstream.
Yeah. So I feel like it became more accessible to people. Like H1 was kind of the one that everybody first saw in streams. Like, oh, what is this? Kind of interesting, but I don't actually pick it up myself. And PUBG was when people started being like, okay, let's get this, and then Fortnite was when it was like general public. Everyone is on.
So they had been around before Trials even. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. So.
Yeah. Well, do we have anything else to say? I mean, if this really isn't going to be around for seasons more, we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But yeah, initial reactions. I'm like, I understand. I'm still in the same boat I was when they announced, hey, it's not coming for this season that we're in right now. Like, I remember feeling like, oh, that sucks. I wonder how much longer it's going to be. I wonder what it's going to be. I'm glad that they're taking their time to make it that perfect feeling that we all crave for. We want that rush and that victory feeling too, like both of those combined in the clutch. We want all of it. And so I'm still anticipating those things and I'm waiting for them. And I think I want to end with this for me on the conversation, and Hove, you can add your final thoughts if you have anything to say. But for me, I see Bungie going down this road of, not being involved with a publisher that is going to say this needs to be out by this time because we need this audience, they're going to run by their schedule of we're going to make this game excellent or this mode or experience excellent, and they're going to take their time to do it, and when they do, it's going to crush, and like hopefully people will come back for it, and it'll be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm kind of, the way that they're talking, that's what it feels like to me. And I'm okay with that, because there's always other games. I want Destiny to be the one that I go to because I feel such an attachment towards these characters. But if I need to put it down for a little while and play something else, or, you know, go for Unbroken in comp and let that occupy my Destiny time for now, that's fine. And I'll just do that for now. And that'll kind of suck. I want it now, but, you know, of course, everyone wants the best game they could possibly have right at this moment, and it just may not exist yet. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
So the only thing I want to say is, partly with kind of piggybacking off of yours, but partly a lot of the stuff I've seen on Twitter and everything. I do think there's always the chance that if something, and someone just said this in chat too, if you wait too long on something, there are going to be people you're going to lose completely.
Yeah.
Just the nature of things.
Yeah, there's games that have done that, like No Man's Sky, how they like apparently improved a ton later on. But then there are times,
and the Division.
I just want to point out, yeah, the Division too. I want to point out the opposite can happen too. Take Fortnite, for example, which
changes too much.
No. Change was, I'm not talking about Fortnite now and changing a bunch of stuff. I'm talking about original Fortnite before the BR was not a BR at all. And then they brought this mode in and everyone was like, what is this? This is so much fun. This is so new and amazing. And if Destiny can do that, like, it will have to knock it out of the park, but it could go the other way around is what I'm saying.
And the other side of that, the one thing that bugs me that people do, and this is not just Destiny focused, not just gaming focused, mostly gaming, I guess, but I've seen some people on Twitter that I like and respect, and even put the criticism in a good way. But when you say something like, well, you know, this news, X news, might be the reason I finally move on from this game for good. It's been fun, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'll never say that I'm going to move away from something for good. Maybe I fucking hate it, and I don't want to touch it. It's really bad. But, like, if they fix things and the things that you want come around, I mean, all you're doing is cutting off your nose to spite your face and not going back and playing it. Like, yeah, that just doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm totally fine with you saying the game right now is not what I want. I'm going to play other things, but to say, well, I'm moving on for good. Well, what if they do exactly the things that you've been asking for? Are you going to not come back just because you said that, well, I used to play that? I mean, if you do, you're just shortchanging yourself. That doesn't... I don't get that.
I think most of the people who say that, like, it's more of a cliche thing to say at this point. Like, they don't even really mean it. Because you can look at... I've seen some pretty popular players say that statement and, like, continue to play the next day. So that kind of statement kind of means nothing to me. I don't really know anyone actually who has said that statement and isn't still playing. So,
I do.
Oh, really? I see. I don't feel like I do actually. Everybody that I know that has made that statement ends up coming back and putting more time into it than I do most of the.
Well, see, it's the people, like the one that specifically got to me. Not gonna mention his name. He's a friend. I have no problem with how he approached it. Like I said, it wasn't like fuck this game, blah blah blah. But like, he hasn't been playing, and this was just kind of the like, well, this is what I was holding out hope for. I guess I'm not gonna come back. Well, I get, like, go play something else. Don't buy an expansion for now. But like, don't close the door if something does change and it comes back to be what you want. And that goes for anything. I mean, that's like life advice.
Yeah.
Except in dating. If something goes really wrong, just get out.
Oh man,
That's all I got.
I was gonna say just one last thing. Just to clarify my statement on like no one ever saying that. I don't mean to say I haven't seen people just stop playing the game and never come back, because that does happen. I just mean they don't make it. Normally, the people who do that, who don't come back, are the people who don't make a big deal or statement about it. They just kind of stop playing and they just don't play anymore. And I asked them about it, and they're like, "Yeah, I just didn't really like this or that," and that's it. They didn't have to text me and be like, "Hey, I'm sick of Destiny. I'm done," and then I never see them again. That has never happened.
It's fair. We got a couple, not many, but some good community questions.
Okay. Well, real quick, with the TWAB Iron Banners coming back, that's pretty much the only, or at least one other thing that is in there that I wanted to mention. And I don't really care at all. I just thought I'd throw it out there that Iron Banner's coming back. I keep thinking, like I mentioned at the beginning of this new season, that there was going to be an Iron Banner fusion rifle potentially, because they were bringing back old Iron Banner weapons, and the first Iron Banner fusion rifle was the high impact, and they never brought it back. It's a perfect opportunity to bring back a gun that could be great with random rolls, that isn't just waiting for 100 freaking gunsmith materials to get an air intel. So I'm slightly bitter about this topic, but yeah, that's it.
It's fair. Is that it? Okay.
That's it.
It's funny because we have some good questions. None of them are really Destiny focused.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, there's a time for that.
First two are Matt Grundy. He asks, what is the hardest part about being in a large and well-known clan? Are you sleeping?
No, I was thinking. I was like, never mind.
I
was thinking.
I read these already, so I have an answer. And it's one of those, like, it's not really that it's hard, but just getting to play with everybody. Because there's so many people that, take the large clan. There's just a lot of people, sheer numbers of people, different time zones. And honestly, like, even if you do play with every single person in a group once, or whatever activity you may be talking about, you're always going to kind of gravitate. You're going to find a smaller group of people that your schedules match, your interests match, your personalities match. That doesn't mean you don't get along with the other people. You just don't get drawn to them. And on the flip side, you have the well-known side. Sometimes the people just get pulled in other directions. I don't get to play often with TV and MTash and Hovey and all them, because they're off doing other things. That doesn't mean we're not friends. Like, when we see TV at Guardian Con, he saw me from across the room and came over and gave me a big hug. Like, we're friends. It doesn't mean we get to play together all the time.
Yeah.
Although, to that note, I played like 6 hours of Apex with Hovey and Mana on Sunday.
I saw you start to stream that, but I didn't get to see how the rest of the went. How
we won probably 5 or 6 games.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think, wasn't Hovey kind of still learning how to play?
That was the first time he played on console.
Okay.
But I mean, he's Hovey. He's still good.
Yeah.
Talk about Mana is gross at that. He carried us pretty much every game. Like, he's good.
I need to play with Mana. I need to play with Mana soon. I think, that's a really good answer, Hove. That's better than anyone that I would have come up with. I'm trying to think, like, what is the hardest part. I agree with your answer, actually, but I don't want to just be cliche and be like, ditto.
Listen, Lego, when you're with someone like me who provides all the right answers, it's okay to just say you agree and drop it.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover with the topic. I guess 2 things. One is clearing up misconceptions of the clan. Like, we have a lot of ideas that, like, we're all PvP, like, just legends, and
Apex
being like,
legends?
Hey, we're like super down to earth people. We're not this, like, and so in some ways that's not hard, because it's kind of nice to show people our, human side.
Bless you.
Bless me. I'm going to do another one probably here in a second. But at the same time, it's difficult to tell people like, like why we can't just let everyone in and like explaining, like, especially for me, I'm the kind of person who likes answering every single person. And when you get so many PSN messages about the clan, you like want to answer them all accurately and correctly and should not be short with them. And that's really difficult for me to like give just short answers. Like I always try to be super nice and put as much information out there as possible without overstepping my bounds, because I'm not a leader of Rezo. I can't like tell them exactly how it is, but I can tell them
I am
"This is
the
my
leader
experience."
of Rezo, though. So.
Oh, okay, my bad. And so that's difficult for me, is parsing through all those messages and giving them the time that they need when I want to just be playing the game. I'm just a normal gamer.
The other part for me that's hard is everyone thinking I'm Hovey.
That one isn't necessarily to do with being in a big well-known clan, though, is it? It's just
kind of. If I wasn't in Rezo,
true. No, if you weren't in Rezo, people probably would still mistake you for Hovey.
They never did before I got in.
Oh, okay, you're fair.
You good with that one?
Yeah.
All right. Follow up. Is it difficult being in a clan that started because of one game, Destiny, as that game experiences low points? How do you work through that?
Well, for me, it hasn't been as difficult because I have loved Destiny the entire time. Like every time that I come back to Destiny, there's always some magic to it that draws me in a little bit. And yeah, I guess being that there are people who don't play, but there are tons of people who still, or at least there's lots of people who still do. And being in this clan has given me a lot of connections with other people outside the clan who I will play with all the time anyway. And so it's not just about it. I think that is a misconception in and of itself, that if you're in this big clan, you only play with people from this big clan. And it's like, no, you can have normal friends. And I play with people locally that are like my college friends, and I play with people in the clan, and I play with people that are the clan's friends, or that we meet through Twitch streams, just like everybody else. So yeah, I think that that part isn't too difficult. The only thing that's difficult I really don't think I've been in a season where I just am like, I don't want to touch Destiny for like months at a time. That has never happened to me. So I know that's happened for other people in the clan. So I think the question might be better aimed at somebody else. But for me, there's never been a time that I've gone, loaded up Destiny and played Rumble and been like, yeah, I'm done with this, I'm going to switch. Like, I'll end up playing for an hour or two more than I thought almost every time.
So I'm going to answer this question kind of two ways. One, from my personal point of view, no, I don't think it's difficult being in a clan that was formed around and for Destiny during low points. For a lot of the reasons you said. If anything, I think it makes those low points easier because even though we don't all agree on everything, we all came for one game. And when these other games come out that are interesting to some of us, it's interesting to others. So if anything, I think it's made some of the low points easier because I have at least a small built-in friend base to test out these other games with.
That's good.
I think if I never joined a clan and I still just played Destiny solo or just with random people here and there, I probably wouldn't have played a lot of the games that I've played. I wouldn't have been playing PUBG by myself. I probably wouldn't be playing Apex by myself. Now from a clan point of view, speaking kind of as the inanimate object that is a clan as a whole, and also from the management point of view, I could see it being difficult in the sense of when you do kind of see people drifting apart. And it's not, I don't mean that in a bad way, like we don't talk to each other, but like as people do play different games, I think there is a challenge there to kind of get people to come back together for the game. And I think management of the clan has done a good job of that. They're not dicks about it, but it's a well-known thing throughout the clan that, like, at least for now, if you're moving away from Destiny or gaming, we need those the people come forward and say, hey, I'm not going to be playing. I'm going to leave the clan. Like, they're still all friends with us. They still may play games with us, but they're not officially in the clan. Do you know what I mean? So I think that could be a challenge from the entire clan size of things. But no, I think from a personal point of view, I think being in the big clan makes a lot of these things easier, really.
Yeah.
And then he had another follow-up to that, but that was just Matt Grundy also talking about when we talk about other games and topics. The one more we have from Bagu. He said, I don't have a question because I know you guys are going to address it in the TWAB, and then in all caps, but God, am I depressed about Trials. So we did address that. I did read this. We would have addressed anyway, but I wanted to make sure I shouted you out for that one, Bagu.
That was actually the first thing I saw because I got a Twitter notification for that comment, and that was before I read the TWAB, and I was like, oh, what happened? And I immediately opened, like, what does it say about Trials? What's happening? What I thought I was gonna read was we're actually not doing Trials for Destiny 2, and it's coming in the next installment of Destiny. We just wanted to get it out of the way and clear the air.
For all we know, that might be what it is.
For all we know, that could happen, but it seems like they're intent on bringing it back to, or the wording to me wasn't it's coming in the next thing of Destiny. But I don't know. Several seasons.
It's indefinite, yeah, and it's indefinite.
Yeah, indefinite, yeah. God, man, indefinite. I hate hearing that word.
I love that word. Last questions from Darth Loki. What changes would you like to see made to Apex Legends? I'd love to see how many people are in a group.
See, I don't want that to change for the reasons that I talked about with Trials. Like, I don't want... The only thing that I might want that would be cool is if there was... a big team version like in PUBG.
No. He's saying he wants to be able to see how many people were in a group. Like basically the friends list UI.
Yes.
Which I think is
100%. Yeah, those are my two things. Is I said this to somebody else the other day. I was like, if they could change two things, it would be seeing who is in a group together, because you just never know. Like, you're getting invites all the time because no one knows that you're with a team already. And fixing the freezes that happen whenever your game just
I think is one that's going to happen. I mean, that's bug fixes.
Did you see they already fixed today? They fixed reviving on the ship. You can revive
did
on
they?
the ship now.
Oh, yeah, good. I didn't see that.
And it said some other bugs have been fixed, so maybe the freezing is fixed. I don't know, but for sure, I revived someone on the ship today. Actually, Rally. I was like, no, he was like, I'm going to crawl off. I was like, no, wait, don't. They fixed it. And he was like, no, they didn't. You'll die. And I was like, I can do it.
Well, to all the people longing for the end of that, did he crawl off?
I got him up.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he didn't fall off.
Good. Yeah, the stuff like freezing and stuff, that's like an obvious thing that I would assume they're going to fix, or at least attempt to. Yeah. The UI one, while I really think it would be great, or the friends list UI and everything, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. Only because Overwatch, for instance, has been out for how many years, is huge, has an esports league, is backed by, Blizzard Activision.
Yeah.
Their fucking friends list UI sucks.
Wow.
It also doesn't show you who's in a group. You can't join somebody unless they're already in a group. You can only invite them. Sometimes it just doesn't show people online. It's very finicky.
That's really interesting.
And that's like a huge game.
What is Respawn we're talking about? The people who found all the problems in BRs and fixed so many of them. I feel like I'm kind of joking. That this is an interesting area though, because I think about all the things that they thought of for this that were like, oh, this is a huge problem in BRs. Let's make it better. Let's do this and fix it. But then the UI is it's not bad. It's pretty snappy. The thing is, it's a social thing that how do you test that aspect of it that could be annoying that you wouldn't know was annoying until you had 100 people on your friends list.
I get so many invites while I'm playing from people that, and this goes into my other point, which I'll get to after you're done.
Okay, I have one too.
Yeah. That I don't play with often, but I would like to, but I'm getting invites when I'm already in a group of 3 or even 2 and they have 2 and there's no way to see that. I just want to be able to see, oh shit, Lego's already playing with Marcus and Wilson. I'm not going to bother sending any of them invites.
Same.
Or on the flip side, maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to invite these two, and one of them's grouped up, so then it looks like you're only inviting one of your two friends who are already playing together. Like, it just causes a lot of just weird things.
I just make the assumption that whoever I invite, that they know that I mean to invite all of them. We
basically assume with you specifically that you're playing favorites.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's not the I said
kidding.
earlier on this podcast, I love playing with everyone, and I stick
but
to
apparently
that
me more, because the website says so.
On Destiny, there's a caveat. There was something else. UI, when you get messages, invites, this is a PlayStation thing, not an Apex Legends thing, because I noticed it happens with Destiny too, and it's driving me crazy. Why in the world do your invites come up over your radar on every game that you play? Why?
Well, that must... I mean, all the games are putting their radar there, I guess.
Yeah, but why doesn't Sony just... Like, there should be an option in Sony's UI to, like, where invites appear on the right side of the screen, please.
Lego, when people are as holly as you, they turn off their notifications.
I don't want to do that, though. I don't want to do that.
You sounded so sad.
I am. That's not an option.
That kind of goes into... Not that,
It's not an option until there's a bug that crashes your PS4 when you get a message.
What I was saying about getting invites from people that, if I miss an invite from you because I'm playing with someone, I'm going to talk to you in Discord or the next day and be like, hey man, sorry, I was with so-and-so. But like, sometimes there's these people messaging me or sending me invites that I don't play with often, but I'm already in a group, and then it's not like I talk to them regularly to be like, hey man, I wasn't ignoring you, hit me up next time, I'd love to play, But the one thing that's nice about Apex, and it's not Apex in particular, it's just kind of when a new game draws a lot of different people, you kind of mix up some of your preset kind of groups, like that I talked about with the hard part about being in a clan is playing with everyone. You kind of fall into groups. Now, Mana, I play with here and there because of the podcast. Briar and I have played, but our schedules just don't line up. But like in 2 days back to back, I played with Briar and Wilson and Mana and Hovey. When was the last time that happened at Destiny? Because those guys kind of all have their times they get on, and so do I, and the people they play with. So like that's another nice thing with a new game like this that brings in a lot of different people, is kind of getting to experience it with some different people too.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I got.
Me too. Well,
did I ever last week? Did I remember to talk about my experience going to meet Ariana Marie?
Yeah, you totally talked about that, and
just wanted to make sure. I couldn't remember.
I wanted to bring up: are we gonna stream some Apex Legends after this? Is that what we're doing?
Can I pee first?
Yes. But real quick, wanted to thank Blue Microphones and Headphones for sponsoring this podcast. Thank you so much for letting us use these amazing products. And if you'd like to get your hands on some of these beautiful microphones and headphones, you can use code RezoCast at bluemic.com and get an amazing 20% off. They are awesome. And if you want to learn more about Team Resolute, you can find more about Team Resolute at Team Resolute on Twitter. We talked a lot about our clan this episode. It's kind of awesome, and there are a lot of cool people, and I got to play. It's so funny, like when people like leave the clan, it's kind of like they're Resolute members are kind of like always Resolute. And I was playing with Apex Chris and Guillermo, and just like there have been people that have like left for a little while and come back, and that's just kind of the way it's like family, And so with playing this new game, I've gotten to play with a lot of people that haven't been playing Destiny or have left the clan or stuff like that, and it's just been fun like reuniting with people because they're fam. So yeah, learn more about that amazing fam at Team Resolute on Twitter. If you want to ask RezoCast some questions and hear us talk about ridiculous topics or other games or Destiny or anything, you can tweet at us at RezoCast on Twitter. We put that questionnaire out every Thursday normally in the morning. I think sometimes on Wednesday.
No, usually it's Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday. Okay. I thought maybe like the question one was on Thursday, but you're right. Tuesday or Wednesday.
I know I'm right because I'm the one who does it.
Because you're the Twitter boss. This has been Lego, aka Legoli Flash at Lego YouTube. Maybe you'll find me streaming at some point. I don't know. I feel the itch again with like playing some Rumble and doubles and playing Apex. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hove, where can they find you?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Kim in chat. She just goes, "I love you guys, by the way," and I said, "Are you drunk?" And she said, "Maybe." You can find me on Twitter at Hove76, and I don't know how many times I've said this, but I did stream like 4 times in the last week, and we're gonna do a little more Apex after this. So, also on Twitch at Hove76. Yeah, we'll have emotes coming very soon. They're being worked on. And finally, one thing that I think we remember to do one time, but I feel like we should add for anyone who does listen not live. We do this podcast live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Hove76, every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. We love, kind of interacting with chat as much as we can, and there's some good folks in chat that you can interact with. So if you ever feel like stopping by and making fun of, anything from
Discord crashing
to what apparently is my pedophile mustache.
Oh,
yeah, that was what it was called earlier. You missed that too. That was Matt Grundy as well.
The guitar in my corner that I might sing a song with soon.
Ooh.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, but yeah, we'd love for you guys to stop by there too. So that's it.
All right.
That's all I got.
This has been RezoCast episode 122. Thanks for stopping by. Till next time, y'all. GG.
GG. Oh my God, is that supposed to sound like me?